Hey everyone, Jim and Roth here with the Rewind Theater on the long-awaited and brand new trailer for Mad Max Fury Road.
Dun, dun, dun.
Now, let's take a look-see right here. Who's that in the foreground there, Roth?
Well, that's none other than our Mad Max, the titular character, if you will. And if you listen to the VO in this part, it is similar to Road Warrior overview of how the world has fallen apart. In this world, it is water wars. So it's a need for water and gasoline, which is also the same idea of Road Warrior.
And that's Tom Hardy taking over for Mel Gibson. I just want to point out the car is once again the V8 Interceptor.
It's the Pursuit Special, which is what got destroyed in Road Warrior.
And we're two-headed lizard there, but we're not really going to speculate on timeline continuity-wise how this all works, because frankly I'm a little confused as to is this the same timeline as the Mad Max movies or not. But let's.
You want to pause right here?
Yeah.
What do we see right there, Jim? What does that look like?
That looks like some sort of water tube for either filtration or hydration, and then he's got some headphones around his neck there.
Kind of old school headphones. And then we don't know when the world fell apart in this world, but he takes off and is immediately pursued. And basically this is going to be a feature-length car chase. So look at this right here.
Yeah.
First of all, boom.
There goes the Interceptor.
Go back a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to point out a couple of things. First of all, there goes the Interceptor.
Yeah.
So this is a big chase movie, and Miller put a lot of George Miller, who directed the first 3 Mad Max films, put a lot of emphasis on making sure they had real practical car stunts, but they did do CGI in the landscapes and things. Look at that. And I think
that's the Namibian desert. Did I mention that?
You didn't mention.
Actually, this is the Namibian desert, and they were going to film in New South Wales like the original films back in 2011, but it got washed out in a big flood, and basically they ended up postponing filming until July 2012.
Yeah. The New South Wales was, again, the place where they filmed Road Warrior. Okay, so those big flares, we think that they were sort of call-outs from the bad guy marauders to get help from their friends. We think.
Right.
We don't know. We're speculating.
Let's see here.
So if you go a little bit further, poor Max, poor Pursuit. So here he is. He's got the long that's Tom Hardy right there, long hair. He's being kidnapped. And here's our first look at Charlize Theron, who plays the Imperator Furiosa.
And at one point, the movie was called Mad Max Furiosa. Now it's just Fury Road. But tell the folks about her arm there. She seems like she's not quite not quite all there.
She's got a robotic arm, which we're going to be able to get a better look at later. Her truck is called the War Rig. And stop right here for a second. This is really interesting.
He looks like he's in some sort of medical facility where they're tattooing stuff onto him.
They are tattooing stuff onto him, and if you look closely, you can see things like first of all, there's Road Warrior is in there, O negative, his O negative high octane. O negative we assume is his blood type. He's a universal donor. His genitals are intact, so that's nice for him.
Well, that's all we needed to know, really. Ultimately, it was, hey,
but it's basically like it's like breaking him down piece by piece as if he is a machine himself.
Now, there's our first good look at Max here in terms of just getting a look at his face. But one thing you'll notice outside of that opening line, I don't believe he actually speaks at any other point in this trailer.
He doesn't, and this is the other interesting. So you see them cutting off his hair there. A little bit earlier. One sort of fun thing for fans is that in Thunderdome, he gets his hair cut off when he's unconscious, but it's in a much nicer way than what's happening here. So that big, painterly, epic landscape scene that comes up after this scene, I think is an example of how they beautifully use the CGI in this movie to create this world. Now look at these things. Go back just a little bit.
Let's see. Right here?
Yeah, so if you see on top of the Marauders' vehicles, they almost have poles where they can use to launch themselves onto the other vehicles in a battle. We're going to see more of that later.
It's another good look at her hand there.
Robotic
arm.
arm. And look at this. Okay, stop right there.
Back in the Bane mask.
Look, so point out right here, this is another thing from Road Warrior where they had people tied to the front of the vehicles, only this time it's Max. And
Yeah.
who's that behind him?
Well,
It's-
the guy actually driving down in the
Yeah.
lower left corner is Nux, played by Nicholas Hoult.
Yeah.
And he is, you guys know him as Beast in the X-Men movies. And then he was, of course, in Warm Bodies.
Dun, dun, dun.
Okay, that's just insane.
More mania. So look, what are they? It looks like they are almost worshiping.
Yeah, it's like a skull.
But
I lost it here. Oh,
right
yeah,
there.
We go. All right.
It's like they're worshiping
Death or
steering
some sort of
wheels.
skull. Yeah, steering wheels.
No,
yeah.
they're steering wheels. Look.
That's true. That's
with
true.
skulls on them. Literally worshiping driving. Okay, so go back just a little bit. Okay. So if you see this gentleman right here, he played Toe Cutter in the very first Mad Max film. So that's a nice little
that's
callback.
Hugh Keys-Byrne. And so he's an old hand at this. Then I just want to come up right here. That right there in the foreground, that's Zoe Kravitz. And you know her also from X-Men First Class. She played Angel. And she plays a character named Toast, and she's one of the brides. You see a few more of them there. And I think the gist of the story is about how they're escaping from Immortal Joe, yeah. And he wants them back, but they're going to take off with Furiosa and Max.
Yeah, I think that the brides' names are...
well, here, we got to look at some of them here.
The Pretty Little Brides.
All right.
They aren't too affected. It's Toast, Capable, Splendid, Fragile. And
I think there's another one called Wag.
Wag.
But I want to point out one of them. Okay.
Dag.
That's Rosie Huntington-Whiteley in the foreground, and she plays Splendid. And the redheaded woman to our right, her name is Riley Kehoe.
Yeah.
She is Elvis Presley's granddaughter.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That is interesting.
Yeah, and then,
Yeah, and Immortal Joe is the guy who was Toe Cutter in the original film.
Let's
He's the guy with the mask.
Let's just take a look-see at the arm again here. So she's got all sorts of do-it-yourself stuff with the wrench kind of keeping things in place there, and Max still in the mask there as they try to make their escape. Here's a good look at Joe.
Yeah, there he is. He does not look like somebody we want. He's the main bad guy, as we know, and he is not somebody we want to tangle with. So here's sort of the hero shot. You see a little bit more of how... What's cool about this is it harkens back to me. Look at this. Okay, go back a little bit. What I was going to say was it harkens back a lot to definitely Road Warrior and Thunderdome, the chase in Thunderdome. But it makes use of today's technology as well. Like you've got practical car chases and things like that. But you have these amazing stunts with them jumping off of these poles. And then in terms of the landscape, using the idea of a world gone to extreme weather conditions, I think, in the midst of everything else. Look at this. It's a lightning fire tornado.
Now this actress right here, she is an Australian model and actress named Megan Gale. And you know what's noteworthy about her?
She's shooting stuff?
She was Wonder Woman in George Miller's aborted Justice League movie.
That is notable.
He was supposed to direct Justice League. She was his Wonder Woman. Didn't work out.
I also like
the same day that they released at Comic-Con the Gal Gadot poster. We see her in action.
I like the look of her in this movie.
I think this one right here, is that Adelaide Clemens maybe, or could be another one of those actresses.
All right, so here's the full-on. They're working together now. He's got the mask off. They've teamed up to go up against these bad guys. Oh, one bride
looks like
down.
One of them got.
Yeah.
Who's that one? Oh, is that Zoe Kravitz?
That's Zoe Kravitz. She looks like she got taken back.
Aye.
And here we go with the massive explosions.
So insane.
I mean, I'm liking what I'm seeing. I think that I don't know if it's a prequel or whatever. I don't think it is because Mad Max becomes who he is in the very first film. I think that this is just the idea that this is Mad Max. It's an adventure of Mad Max's. It doesn't really matter how it's connected to the other films. It's Mad Max and stuff is happening.
Yeah, I mean, this movie's now on my radar in a way it hadn't been. It was filmed 2 years ago. Mad Max Fury Road coming out May 15, 2015. Thanks for watching.